Tinder date from Little Hell story time. He literally sent me abusive messages calling me crazy, saying that I used him and that I was basically nuts for no reason. So I'm 18 on Tinder.
This is probably one of the most vile dating stories I've ever heard of in my entire life. I don't know if y'all are following what's the developing story of the tabby swiper overall across the pond in NYC, but I will fill you in if you have not heard of it. So there's this girlie, she's out in NYC living her best life. She's on Tinder swiping. She matches with this guy, but no one messages each other. They don't, nothing happens. Then she's out in Soho or somewhere in Central, in New York. And she locks eyes with this guy. She thinks he's kind of cute and he looks familiar, but no one makes a move. She doesn't think much of it.
I just had the worst, most awkward, terrible Tinder date of my life. And I just need to talk about it real quick because...
But today we are here for Tinder. Swipe at your own risk. Tinder is supposed to help you find love, right? But for some people, it's a straight up horror show. I have collected the wildest Tinder dating horror stories from TikTok where people share their creepiest, funniest, and most shocking dating experiences. After watching this, you might never look at a dating app the same way you have been looking at it. So yeah, my name is Rhea. Thanks for tapping, thanks for clicking. You are welcome, sis. And if you find any value, please do subscribe, like, and share this video. And if you have a story, please do use the comment section. Leave your comments down below, and I'll be back at the end of the video to share my own opinion about this topic at hand. So without further ado, let's dive in. I'll be back.
Tinder date from Little Hell story time. He literally sent me abusive messages calling me crazy, saying that I used him and that I was basically nuts for no reason. So I'm 18 on Tinder. Matched with a guy, we're getting along pretty well. He lives really close, so I'm like, why not? Let's catch up. First date was average, nothing that weird. Although he kept winking at me, being like, haha. And I'd be like, what? And he did it 5 times, and I was like, hey, can you stop winking at me? I don't know why, it just makes me feel uncomfortable. And then he's like, yeah, sure. I'm like, all right, whatever. Also, important part of the story, he told me that he was a virgin on our first date. And I said I didn't care, obviously, because why would I care? Anyway, second date, this is where it gets bad. We go bowling. A girl that I know, we're not really friends, we're more like mutual friends. She sees me at bowling and she's like, oh my god, hey, I'm here with my boyfriend, I'll introduce you to him. She brings over her boyfriend and I'm like, hey, nice to meet you. Whatever. So the guy that I'm going on a date with, let's call him Bob. So Bob and I are walking out of bowling and he's not speaking to me. And I'm like, Bob, what's wrong? And he's like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Kept saying, don't worry about it. And I was like, just tell me. And he was like, well, you could have introduced me. I've known you for 2 days. I'm not introducing you to my friends or someone that is not even my friend. Honestly, if he said it in a nicer way, I would have just said sorry, but... Anyway, so we're driving home and he's like, Annalise, I have to tell you something. I've lied to you. And I'm like, what have you already lied to me about? I've known you for 2 days. So he pulls over the car dramatically and he's like, obviously I'm not a virgin. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, I'm so embarrassed. I went clubbing and I lost my virginity to this 30-year-old. I'm so embarrassed, so embarrassed. So I was like, okay, that's kind of odd that you lied about that. But anyway, so he's driving me home and he sees a group of people he used to be friends with. So he's like, oh my god, I can't believe they didn't invite me. So he parks in front of them and is just spying on them, staring at them whilst I'm in the car. So I'm just sitting in the car what is happening right now? Whilst we're in the car, I just wanted to make it very clear with him, hey, just letting you know, I'm not interested. I just got out of a relationship. I just got cheated on. Just not looking for anything at the moment. So I thought it was very clear that I didn't want to speak to him again. Anyway, drives me home and he's like, I need to ask you something. And I'm like, what do you need to ask me? He's like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'm like, just tell me. Just tell me. I hate beating around the bush. And he was like, when would you be ready to do stuff with me? What? So I was like, I don't know, maybe tomorrow, maybe never. I meant never. I get home, I'm barely messaging him because I'm weirded out, confused. he's just kind of rude and odd. I'm still replying here and there just to be nice. Eventually he sends me a paragraph like this bloody big saying that every time he goes on dates with girls, he gets used, that he's such a nice guy, he doesn't know why this happens to him, that I've used him for nights out. Also, I'm pretty sure I paid for the second date, so it was like 50-50 paying for dates. So I didn't use him for anything. And he said that I used him for nights out. And I was like, why would I use you for nights out when I can have nights out with my friends? And then he was like, why would you even go on a date with me if you don't want a relationship? And I was like, look, I didn't know what I was looking for. I just wanted to go on a date, meet a new person. It made me realize, you know, like, I'm still in love with my ex, okay? I'm still in love with him. We'd only been broken up for like 3 months, so like, kind of valid. And then he was like, you're crazy. Like, I can't believe you've said that. Like, what you're saying is nuts. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I just said in the nicest way possible, hey, I'm not interested. Best of luck. I still have feelings for my ex. Sorry. He proceeds for the next... This was in 2019. He proceeds for the next 3 years to message me. Like, every 6 months, yeah, he would message me like, hey, how are you? Or like message me on Instagram and be like, oh my god, hi. And then he would delete the message when I wouldn't reply. Like, sir, it makes sense why this happens to you when you lie about random stuff on first dates. Say that I'm using you for dates when I paid for half the dates. Like, what? If you want more story times and you got through this whole video, feel free to follow me. I have plenty of juicy story times. Also, if my mum is watching this, I'm so sorry. This happened like 5 years ago. And I didn't tell you that I was going on this date because I knew you wouldn't let me go. Love you, mum.
This is probably one of the most vile dating stories I've ever heard of in my entire life. I don't know if y'all are following what's the developing story of the tabby swiper overall across the pond in NYC, but I will fill you in if you have not heard of it. So there's this girlie, she's out in NYC living her best life. She's on Tinder swiping. She matches with this guy, but no one messages each other. They don't, nothing happens. Then she's out in Soho or somewhere in Central, in New York. And she locks eyes with this guy. She thinks he's kind of cute and he looks familiar, but no one makes a move. She doesn't think much of it. She gets home, checks her phone, and sees that there's a message on Tinder and from the dude. And he's like, oh, like, it was nice to run into you today. They get to chatting. They go on a date, a couple drinks. A couple days later, goes well. They follow up again. Then they have a second date. That goes even better. So she's decided to bring him back to her place. They get to chatting. He sees that she has a nice collection of shoes, one of them being tabbies. He's also into fashion. They can talk, and they have a great time together. Next morning, she goes to the shower. He asked to use her phone because he wanted to show her a Spotify playlist or something that he didn't have Spotify on his phone. First red flag. She goes, yeah, no problem, dude. Gives her the phone. He goes through. She comes home, and he leaves after that. She's going about her day. A couple hours later, she looks over to her shoe rack and she realizes that her tabbies are gone. And she goes, oh man, I must have misplaced them. She scours her entire apartment, looks, cannot find the shoes. Then she's like, that's kind of strange. They had just been talking about this with this dude that morning. She goes to text him, be like, just to make sure that something isn't awry. Homeboy deleted his phone number from her phone. He deleted their call log history. He deleted all the text messages, and he unmatched with her on Tinder. So then she's like, oh, this man stole my shoes. So then she goes to TikTok, thank you TikTok, and makes a TikTok about the story. And the girlies do what we do. We track this man down, only to find out that he not only had a girlfriend the entire time, but he gave the shoes to his girlfriend because I guess her and the girlfriend were the exact same size shoe. And because TikTok has blessed us with the engagement for this video, the poor girlfriend, imagine being this girlfriend, she posted it on her Instagram story. Oh, my boyfriend, he bought me these new tabbies, just for one of her girlfriends or one of her friends to DM her in response to that Instagram story, the video of a woman talking about how the fact that her shoes were stolen. So then she has to give the shoes back to the boyfriend, the cheating I assume cheating ex-boyfriend at this point. So then he can go and return the shoes back to the woman that he stole them from. And all of this, we have to thank TikTok and the girlies for boosting the engagement. But this is probably one of the craziest stories I've ever heard of, ever. And if you're interested in following it as it develops, just type in the tabby swiper in TikTok, because I'm sure there's loads of info.
I was like, okay, like, sure, let's go on a date. And and he sent me like this movie and everything, and basically I was like, yeah, like I'm down, like let's do it. And he was like, awesome, like bought the tickets, like I'll see you tonight, blah blah blah. And then we were planning out like when we wanted to meet, if we wanted to meet like prior, all this stuff. We talked like all day basically. And so it finally came to like before we were going, and he tells me that his car is in the shop and he has to Uber, and it would be really nice if I wanted to pick him up. Instant fucking red flag. I should have just ran then. Don't know why I didn't. I was already in deep enough. I was just like, yeah, no, like we should just meet there, like just Uber. So he's like fine with that, whatever. So he Ubers there, I'm driving, and he gets there like a few minutes before me. So I call him when I pull in. I'm like, hey, I just got here. We got there like an hour early because we wanted to meet up and like talk and stuff before. I wanted to like get to know him, because when you're at a movie, you can't talk and get to know the person. I'm so stupid for all of this. In hindsight, like I see this now. Anyway, I call him. I'm like, oh, like, do you want to like come in my car and like we can like hang out in here and like talk before the movie or whatever? And he's like, yeah, sure. Like I'll come out, just park wherever. Thank God I park literally right front and center, like under the lights. There's people outside. There's people in their cars. Like, so I'm parked right front and center. He gets in my car, and like all is like fine, and we're talking, whatever. And I basically like had to tell him. So before I left my house, I realized I had a cold sore on my lip, whatever. Like a lot of people get them. I've gotten them ever since I was a little kid. I don't know, but I know they're contagious, and I know it's basically herpes or whatever. So I had to tell him. And it was like the worst thing to have to tell someone on a first date. And I was so nervous. I was so scared. And I'm like, if you want to leave now, like if you're all set, like I get it, like don't worry. I was like, I swear I don't have any other diseases. Like this is it. I have a cold sore, and I have to tell you, because like, yeah, like if we kiss, you know, like obviously we can't. And he's like laughing. He's like, you're so cute. He's like, no, like I don't care. I actually just got over one myself. Like it's fine. Like I want to kiss you. And I was like, oh, like, okay. I was like, your choice, you know? And he's like, can I kiss you? And I was like, sure. Mind you, we literally were only talking for like 5 minutes, not even. Anyways, starts kissing me, keeps kissing me, and like grabs my leg, and I'm like, oh God, like, okay, this is not like, not what I imagined. So I kind of pull away. I started a different conversation. We started talking. He's just acting like really weird. Like he was like kind of annoyed that I like pulled out of the kiss. And so I asked him like, oh, like what happened to your car? Like why is it in the shop? And he starts being so weird and like moving around. He's like, yeah, like actually it's really embarrassing. I lost my license on the 4th of July. I got a DUI, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, like in my head, I'm like, okay, this guy already lied to me about something like this. Like this is just that I already have awful vibes about this. Anyways, we get over that, and he just keeps like wanting to make out and like kiss, and I'm like I just feel like I have to, like it was a really awkward situation. And then he starts grabbing my hand and putting it, I'm sure you can guess where, and I basically had to pull away and like tell him like, I just want to like get this out of the way now. I'm not trying to do all that, you know, like no. And his whole demeanor changed. He completely changes, and he's basically tells me like that's all he wanted. Like that's why he came tonight. That's why he did all this, because he was expecting that. And I like had to tell him no, like sorry. And before this too, he was telling me that I should move parking spots or whatever, and I wouldn't. And even after me telling him that I'm not doing all that, he still kept trying to get me to move my car to like the back of the theater where it's like completely dark, and he's just acting really off and really weird. And instantly I'm just getting like awful vibes. Like I'm just like, and then he starts like gaslighting me, telling me that I led him on. Huh? Like, I'm so sorry for agreeing to go to the movies with you and I wouldn't pick you up. Like, I didn't even argue with him because I'm like, if I get this man angry, like, who knows what's gonna happen. I mean, thank God I'm right in front of the theater under the lights and like there's people around, so. But he was like making jokes too, because like I had a nice car. He's like, because I kept saying like, oh, like, I hope you don't kill me, like I hope you're not a murderer. And he's like, yeah, I could like literally kill you right now and like take your car, like you have a nice car, blah blah. And like, I don't know, maybe it was just jokes, like, because I was joking about it, but it felt really off to me. And you could tell he was like really pissed off and he kept trying to get me to like want to do stuff with him and like he was like, oh, like maybe we can still go see the movie. Mind you, I did check before I went and we would have been the only 2 people in that movie. Like, I had awful vibes. I was like, no. I'm like, I don't want to waste your time. Like, your time's valuable. And he's like sulking. He's like, my time's not valuable. Like, I'm like, okay, you clearly are a psychopath and you clearly have no self-esteem and you probably will just kill me. Like, I don't even know if I can post this because I can't say all this stuff. Whatever, I'm posting it. But yeah, so basically I started crying and was just trying to make him feel as bad as possible because I'm like, I don't want this guy to kill me right now. Like, he was being really weird. Like, there's so much I could explain, but I had so many red flags. Thank God I had my like smarts about me and whatever. Like, this could have ended so much worse. He basically was like, oh, like, will you at least wait for me, like, my Uber to get here? And I was like, yeah, like, sure. Like, I'm not gonna, like, piss you off anymore. Like, his Uber got there and, like, whatever, he's gone. I'm low-key kind of scared. I'm like, is there a tracker in my car? Is there something? Like, I don't know. I'm just gonna pray all is fine. I'm okay. But if I wake up dead tomorrow, y'all know what happened. But I shouldn't even joke like that. But anyway, I'm never going on another date again. And that's just that. Sorry, he ruined it for everyone. Okay. Good night. Bye. I'm happy to be alive.
So I'm back. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. So online dating can be fun, but it comes with its own risks. From fake profiles to nightmare first dates, Tinder has its own fair share of horror stories. But the biggest lesson from these videos is always meet in public places and never ignore red flags. Follow your intuition and do not be afraid to walk away. If something feels off, please get up and leave. Your safety comes first, and no amount of curiosity is worth putting yourself in danger. Nothing is worth it. Walk away while you still can. And yeah, where this came from, there is more in the playlist. You can dive in there and watch more videos. Yeah, till next time, love you for watching. Be safe. Bye.